Hey, this is Jazmin. Welcome to our podcast.
And I'm Abydjana, and this is
Hello UX.
We are a user-focused podcast aimed to help those pivoting into UX design.
We are here to empower designers and to help those transitioning into the UX field by providing education, resources, and a platform to talk about their experiences.
Whitney couldn't be with us for this recording, but catch her next time.
Yeah, and for this podcast, Bootcamps, Choosing Your Perfect Fit, we'll be highlighting many important points to consider, and we will also provide you with resources to help you select your perfect fit. We wanted to share our opinions and experiences in hopes of giving you insight when considering these programs. There are many factors to consider, so let's start. First, schedule. Do you want to do something that would be part-time, a few times a week, or immersive where it's almost like a full-time job? And typically, the type of schedule will affect the length of the program, meaning for a part-time camp, you're looking for a 6-month program versus immersive, it will be half as long, 3 months. But there's also self-paced, where the student decides the pace they want to take. From what I recall from our research, Career Foundry, Block, and Springboard all allow for this, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is cool. Learning style is another important factor. We all don't take in information the same way. Some of us are fast learners, and some students just need more time with the material, and that's okay. But when considering a boot camp, you have to figure out which curriculum is more accommodating to your learning style. And accessibility is also a big part of this. How do instructors accommodate students with learning disabilities?
And also, a big factor that will definitely play a huge role when choosing a bootcamp is cost.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Okay, but not to worry. Some bootcamps do offer scholarships. Others allow you to pay your tuition in monthly installment plan. And others will wait for you to graduate. And some even have a job guarantee.
These are really good points. As a prospective student, this is the kind of mindset you have to have when it comes to choosing the bootcamp that works best for you. We wanted to hear what other UX designers had to say about this. So we reached out to our UX community and asked UX Bootcamp graduates to share their experiences with us. We began by asking, what is the most important aspect when choosing a UX bootcamp? Here's what they had to say.
The quality of the education and graduate reviews. I want a reputable institution with instructors who understand what they're teaching and are passionate about it. Reviews are tricky because they're usually cherry-picked, so you have to investigate to find the most honest ones.
Ultimately, I chose GA because after a lot of research, it seemed like their curriculum was structured on basically completing a portfolio.
Definitely, I had 3 aspects: time, location, and money.
Ooh, those were some good responses.
Yeah, they were. And I agree with the first response. It is hard to read reviews and then make a decision based on those reviews because you really don't know these people. My advice would be to ask around. Maybe become part of a meetup group or start asking your peers on LinkedIn, especially if you know someone that went through a boot camp. Ask them about their experience and what advice they can give you.
And people are always so open to sharing their story anyway.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm.
I think return on investment was the biggest thing for me. Knowing I was going to spend all this money now to further my career later, I saw it as like an investment in myself and in my career as a UX designer. Listen to what this Flatiron graduate had to say about this.
Return on investment is how I thought about it, is I'm making this career switch, and what are the elements and what are the things that I'm learning, and what are the alumni getting into now that they have graduated this program? What was their return on investment, and what made this such a powerful boot camp for these alumni to get these jobs, and kind of how many hours did they put in, and what was the grit factor behind it?
I agree so much with this, specifically when it comes to a boot camp. The prices are not cheap.
Nope, not at all.
Not at all. Yeah, you can expect to pay anywhere between like $1,100 for a more affordable boot camp, all the way up to $15,000 on the higher end.
Ooh-wee.
When I'm spending that kind of money, I'm really investing in the boot camp itself and what they're promising me. So one, like the relevance and applicability of the curriculum that the instructors are teaching. So like the core design values and like the technical skills, right?
Right.
Yeah, and also I'm investing the time and the energy I put in will result in me gaining the knowledge and producing work or portfolio in this instance, that will help me transition into the UX field with a job.
Right. I like how you said investing in the bootcamp because some bootcamps have the nice option of a job guarantee. And this tells me that the bootcamp is very confident in their courses and program, right? I know places like Career Foundry, Springboard, Block, and Design Lab all have some type of program like this in selected locations. So typically, the way this is done is that the bootcamp will return your money or part of it at the end of the bootcamp if you don't find employment and within a given time frame that they give you. So typically, I saw that it was like a 3 months post graduate. This gives me the feeling that both the student and the bootcamp enter like in a partnership, right? Where both are invested in the end result.
And job guarantee is just a really nice option. It kind of like helps students know that their investment will pay off with a new job in the end.
Right.
I also see how it can make you a little like more confident about your choice when it comes to pivoting into that new career and spending all this money on a program. But like you said, it's like in only selected locations, but it's still really nice.
Right, and it's still worth looking into, right?
Yeah.
I know some people can take longer than the 3 months to find an ideal job, and so during this search time, it would be nice to at least have some of that money that was initially invested to help them carry them through until they do find employment.
Yeah, exactly.
You all have heard of that saying, if only I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Not the y'all part. That's definitely a Texan thing.
Yeah, probably. Well, we had that conversation among ourselves, but we wanted to know what our fellow designers thought and looking back on their own bootcamp experience. And so we asked, what was one thing they wished they knew before starting their bootcamp? And here are the insights from a Flatiron graduate.
I kind of wish I knew how in depth these programs go, because at the beginning of it, there is a lot of marketing around become a UX UI designer and get a job within, such and such months of graduating. And I have nothing against boot camps and or my boot camp experience, but I wish I knew that they didn't go as in-depth as I thought they did, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And so looking back at that experience, I wish I knew how in-depth they were going into design, more than the fundamentals of design and design thinking and human-centered design and kind of the things that they teach you. And how technical they were getting, the tools that you would be using. What are the things that, industry professionals look for? I kind of wish I knew that.
I love how she says, you don't know what you don't know until you know.
Right.
Yeah. Because that was definitely my sentiment. I assume we're going to learn equal amounts of design fundamentals and UI fundamentals, but that was not the case at all at GA. In our boot camp, it was more of the design principles and the basics of like wireframing. We did cover visual design elements like color theory and typography, but it wasn't like that deep dive that I was expecting. We just like scratched the surface, and everything else I had to like learn on my own time. I think that was just because we're like short on time, but thank God for YouTube.
Right. And I think they might have just recently changed that too, because I recall getting an email and they were kind of offering this portion to graduate alumni. And so I think they just recently changed that about that. But that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, I also agree with her that I would have appreciated more guidance in regard to like the technical aspect of being made more familiar with the different industry tools that are available in the market, and also like the tools industry professionals are looking for, right, when they're hiring. For example, maybe something that would have been helpful is in regard to wireframing and prototyping platforms. Which one is best to do? Like, for example, be able to work collaboratively with other designers in real time, or which one makes it easier for me as a designer to be able to hand off my design to the web developer.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe this takes us to our next powerful point made by a GA graduate, and here's what she wished she knew beforehand.
Looking back on my time at GA, I wish I had better tried to structure some of my early work or projects in the context of building a portfolio. The way the GA course is set up is we essentially work on maybe like 4 or pieces that could be used in a portfolio. 2 of them aren't very well structured, and they're almost like just test projects, and then the other 2 are meant to be very well fleshed out portfolio pieces. But we all know when applying to jobs that you need more than 2 items to show on a portfolio. So I really wish that starting with my first project and then the second one that I did, that I had thought about how I might use these pieces within my portfolio, even though they were very short projects. And from what I remember about them, we weren't given a lot of time to work on these projects, and we weren't given a lot of guidance on how they should look like. I think just knowing if I had had the mentality that every single piece should be a portfolio piece, it would have saved me some work that I had to eventually do going back when reviewing all of my pieces and getting my portfolio together for job applications. I almost had to redo entire projects because I knew that I needed to create them in a certain kind of way to then display my work and talk about them in a job interview.
Okay, so we both went to GA. What are your thoughts, Jazmin?
Right. All I could think of was like, yes, girl, yes. I'm so glad, she mentions portfolio because it's probably one of the most important pieces that you will have, as you leave your boot camp. And, all job applications will ask for your portfolio link as well as your resume. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty essential piece, right?
Yeah, it is.
And, it's going to have your work samples, case studies, your contact information. And typically this is the first point of contact with a recruiter, right? Looking to fill a job role.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think this GA graduate has a great point because, again, I remember feeling the same way when it came to reworking and redoing all of my earlier projects. And I think guidance is key here.
Right.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I see it as I'm new to the industry, I'm new to this career, and I'm here to learn from the seasoned veterans, so the instructors, on what to do and how to break into this field. And a portfolio is a major part of that. And ultimately, It's the thing that helps you get the jobs, just like you said. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I understand the need to ease us into creating projects, but I think setting the expectation of what is needed is important because when something is new, and if you don't have the proper context and the proper guidance, then it just becomes just this ball of confusion, really.
Right.
Yeah. And I think one way to prevent this from happening is introducing the idea of the portfolio earlier on in the schedule. So I remember our instructors referencing the word portfolio and case study within the first week or 2, but I didn't really understand the full capacity of what that was. Right. And not fully making that connection that these projects will be turned into case studies to go into my portfolio. And not all schools are going to be clear about this, but it's good to go in with the mindset that all of your projects will end up in your portfolio. So having that mindset going into the boot camp will help prevent you from being confused, even if your boot camp doesn't stress that. So so mentally you have to say, okay, these projects and presentations have to be done like this. It needs to include these types of details so I can turn into a case study for my portfolio later on.
Right. All I remember from portfolio week was that it was super stressful. Yeah. I felt like a chicken without a head. I did not sleep at all. I was trying to work on not only making my portfolio look stellar, but I'm also working on my case studies and, be able to put all the information I need, but yet be concise, right? And I felt so overwhelmed. And I'm sprucing up all my deliverables as well so they could also look presentable. And the time it came for the presentation day, I was so exhausted. And I remember just at one point, I was just there showcasing my prototype and I wasn't even saying anything. I was just play. It was awful.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Jazmin.
Yeah, I think I'm getting PTSD just thinking about it right now.